2 years later update. Feel like having a baby was a huge mistake. I am not op. Original post by you, Big Beard FPV in R, Beyond the Bump. Dad jokes to cover up spoiler. Why do seagulls fly over the ocean? Because if they flew over the bay, we'd call them bagels. Why didn't the skeleton climb the mountain? It didn't have the guts. What do you call it when a snowman throws a tantrum? A meltdown. What kind of shoes do ninjas wear? Sneakers. Quote, mood spoilers. Wholesome. Less than. An NBSP. Feel like having a baby was a huge mistake. The 1st of August 2021. I'm her father. And no, I didn't have to push out the baby or carry her for 9 months. But I don't think I've ever been more sad, exhausted, or depressed over a decision my whole life. Prior to the baby, I had lots of hobbies, traveled the world, had a thriving loving relationship with my wife and more. I built things, flew drones, worked on cars, and loved my Wall Street job. But it all feels like that's gone. I have a 9-week-old, and it has been rough. Nobody can really explain how demanding and exhausting and selfless you have to be to raise a child. I am just grabbing at any moments of peace. And when she sleeps, I just want to stay up and have a chance to be me. But I'm so tired that I can't even enjoy those moments. I find myself wanting to pack up and just disappear. I find myself not even wanting to wake up, because I know what the day requires. When does it get better? When will I get 79 hours straight of sleep every night again? When will I get a chance to live again? I don't get time with my wife. Love life is non-existent. I don't get to travel or do any hobbies I had. I work 910 hours a day, and I'm exhausted even before the day starts. I feel so guilty because she's beautiful, and it isn't her fault. But if I could go back and undo this decision, I would. I know not all experiences are the same, but I'm hoping someone has a positive word or glimmer of hope for me. I hope I didn't ruin my life. Disappointed. An honest write-up from first-time dad. An NBSP. 2 years later update. Feel like having a baby was a huge mistake. The 31st of March 2023. Hello everyone and happy Friday. I wasn't going to write this update as it has been so long. But I realize that we are a community. And part of the power in community is in normalizing the experiences that we sometimes feel we go through alone. You are not alone, and feel free to ask me any questions about my journey below. I'll do my best to respond to everyone. If you haven't read my first post, in summary, I was feeling lost, sad, depressed, resentful, exhausted, emotional, overwhelmed, scared, and questioning if I'd ruined my whole life in what was supposed to be a joyous experience. So now that you've survived my introduction, here's my 2-year update. What does life feel like at this point? I could tell you what life is, but that's not how we connect as humans. We connect and function based on feelings and our perceptions. So with that being said, my heart has never been more full. My purpose has never been more clear. And while life has never felt the same, I'm not sure I'd ever want it to go back to the perfect life I had before my little girl. She's about to turn 2, and every morning I look forward to my daddy as she runs into my home office after she wakes up, and I look forward to my big good night hug and good night daddy before she's put into bed. Her laughs absolutely obliterates the shadows cast from a bad day at work. And chasing her on the playground at the park has become one of our favorite pastimes. When did it get better for you? It gets better in stages. But I'm still not sure how much of that is because things actually get much easier, or if there is a natural evolution we go through as first-time parents. I remember feeling absolutely exhausted, and without any time. Today, I get full nights of sleep usually. I have a few pockets to myself here and there, And while I don't get to sleep in late, stay up all night clubbing, or some of the more adolescent things I used to enjoy, I am enjoying life again. 4 months first smiles were nice, but still not enough to change the quality of life. 10 months she started eating food, making lots of funny faces, and developed a fondness for me even though I wasn't fond of her. Those long nights were few and far between, and while I didn't have free time, I had sleep. And we all know sleep is extremely, insert curse word here, important after the initial exhaustion. In the earlier stages, 13 months a mobile baby is a whole new challenge, and putting on the baby shows wasn't enough to keep her happy. It is again a shift where baby-proofing becomes a huge deal, and you also look around and realize your space has been taken over by the baby. Baby stuff was everywhere. I was much less depressed, but ready to go back to normal life. Hint, it never happens, haha. 16 months the babies make huge growth leaps in this time. Playtime becomes much more fun, and suddenly you can start to do things like slightly longer car rides to your favorite food places, etc. I realized half my beard had started graying, but oh well, it is what it is. 20 months words are babble and more words. This is a fun stage where exploration becomes a joint exercise. You find yourself enjoying rediscovering things you had forgotten were so amazing. Swings and parks and baby-appropriate bounce houses are commonplace. You also look up and realize that you've survived the infant stage and are now dealing with a full-blown funny toddler. They are weird, they are emotional, they are fun, they are loving, and they trust you to the edges of the universe and back. This was one of my favorite time periods so far. Emotionally, I realized I was no longer sad I had a kid, and I found that being gone from her for too long made me sad. You start to feel like a real parent here. 22 months I love my lil one so much. I love her so much that I want another. What is wrong with me, LMAO? The period you hate goes by so quickly if you just hold on and keep your head down. I'm back to most of my favorite things, albeit with less time to enjoy. I love music, for instance, so I purchased a headphone amplifier and a 300 pair of headphones so I can enjoy while I work. I have several toys I play with occasionally, but more than anything, I feel whole. It gets better. It gets better. And now I can't believe that I'm ready to have another. Those of you in this community that helped me were a godsend. I'm happy to be here, and anyone can always reach out if they have questions or just need encouragement. An NBSP reminder: I am not the original poster. I sent my husband this post last year when I was pregnant. He references it all the time. I think it made us both feel better in those first 6 weeks when we couldn't sleep and felt like we regretted every decision we've ever made. 9 months later, everything is so different. It really is a whole new experience every couple months. We can't wait for her to get older, but I can almost look back on those first 6 weeks with a sense of nostalgia. She'll never be that tiny little terror ever again, and I almost miss it. The raw honesty is what is so beautiful and important here, because everyone acts like it's just pure smiles and sunshine and roses. I wonder if more relationships would be saved if people, especially men, could be just this raw and open about how difficult and how much an adjustment it is having children. A lot of people know that mothers can experience postpartum depression or similar postpartum mental health issues, and that can cause a struggle bonding with a new baby, and it really isn't their fault, and so important to get help. Fathers don't go through the physical hormones in labor, but there is a lot of evidence that suggests fathers can experience a form of depression after the birth of a baby. There's a lot of guilt and shame attached, because as parents we are supposed to love our babies, and we feel guilty and ashamed and alone when we don't. But this is not any parent's fault. It's possible to get help. It's treatable. And you can form a healthy and wonderful bond to your baby even if you didn't right away. Fathers can struggle with their mental health after having a new baby. And there needs to be more awareness and less shame surrounding that. Edit. I've been told that there's evidence that fathers do experience a hormone change after the birth of a baby. A commenter gave a really interesting link below. Watching a colleague go through this now. At first there was new parent euphoria. Now he is a dead man walking. Hasn't slept through the night in 6 months. Realizes he is never going on adventurous spontaneous holidays ever again. Loves his kid, but you can see the terror. How do you tell someone it gets better? And more frightening, as they grow up? I love this post because it is written in the words of every new parent of a newborn. It's very raw and honest. Even the parts about running away. It feels like this dark tunnel, but there's no light at the end. Everything about your life changes overnight and it's jarring. Parenting is always really hard, but your first newborn is something else entirely. I love seeing Op adjust to parenthood and find balance. I am a mother of 2 beautiful sons. One 4-year-old, the other 4 months old. I absolutely hated and still hate the baby year. Babies are cute, but it's exhausting to care for those little useless potatoes. I also really hated pregnancy and birth. Other parents often look strange at me when I am honest about that. I adore my children, but I am not a baby person. I showered my babies with lots of love, cuddles and kisses, but I am exhausted. I miss my me time. But it was all worth it. It gets better. The more the children learn, the easier it gets. After they start to walk and talk, the real fun begins, in my opinion. My little one is only 4 months old now, but I know that it will get better. I can't wait for the toddler years. They are the most cute and fun. And then later when we can do lots of activities as a family. So much to look forward to. I even have a countdown app on my phone screen that counts down to the first birthday and the time he finally will enter daycare. Mother of the Year tears of joy. I adore my children, but me time is so important. I am a better version of myself when I got some sleep and a good warm shower. Looking forward to the puberty update. Every single time I read one of these posts about being a parent, it fully reaffirms my decision to remain child-free. To be clear, I am genuinely so happy this parent loves being a father. But even the breakthrough isn't a strong enough factor for me to see it as something for me. I have been really afraid of having kids, and this post made me feel so much better. I'm so afraid of hating my life and being exhausted all the time. And not having that immediate, they make it all worth it, bond, love you're supposed to have to keep you going. This post made me realize that it may take time to get to that point, and the exhaustion is only temporary. I want to save this post to look back on when I actually do have one. Never underestimate the negative impact of sleep deprivation during the early days. You should know how great things were before you. Even so, they're better still today. I can't think of who I was before. You ruined everything in the nicest way. Try having twins like my wife and I did. At 40 years old, I might add. The best thing we did is we started sleeping in shifts so we each could at least get 6 hours of uninterrupted sleep while the other tended to the boys. They turned 18 years old last week, and their birthday party is this afternoon, and will be graduating from high school in June. It seems like a blink of an eye as the time has flown by. Ending was wholesome as FCK and made me smile. See, this right here is why I can't do kids. I commend those of you who can do it and push through the hard parts. And that's why I'm not having kids. He didn't say a single thing about his wife. That seemed odd, but good for him otherwise. There's a reason sleep deprivation is used as torture. Even if you're happy with your decision to have a child, we were. The lack of sleep is murder. If you're going through this, hang in there. It does get better. Once you get your first full night again, you'll be amazed at the difference. Sometimes I doubt my child-free status when I read a sweet, wholesome story like this. But then I get to the end and my first thought is, good God, even the positives sound like my worst nightmare, and I feel content in my choices again. Dad of 2 wee ones here. 4 in 1. The relationship between number of kids and effort required seems to be exponential, not linear. 2 kids that young are 4 times the work, not twice the work. My second is approaching the age of your first, and the tiredness, almost despair in questioning, mirrors the first time. My second is now at the almost unbearably cute stage of accelerating language acquisition and full-on personality development, and it really does help, as you said. If you go for a second, you'll have that light at the end of the tunnel to focus on as you drive through with head down, knowing you've done it all before and the payoff is there and so incredibly worth it. I do miss just being able to nip off down the pub for a pint whenever I felt like it, though. I was always a kid person, and I was thrilled when I found out we were expecting our first, but nothing you can do will possibly prepare you for the life shift of having a newborn. It sucks. They're just little blobs that literally reciprocate 0% of the time, energy and effort you expend. I get where he's coming from. I can also see why he wants a second. He now has the benefit of perspective. He sees that there is a light at the end of the tunnel and that the first few months of terror are worth it. Now with 3 of my own, I can't tell you how great it is on balance. My 3 crazies couldn't be more different. But I find myself wanting their background noise when I'm working from home and they're at school. I hear them laugh once and I move mountains to hear that sound again and again. My brain physically craves their smell and the baby fat of their cheeks. Glad OOP came around. It's not an easy place to be, nor is it an easy place to come out of. But it's well worth it when it happens.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.